Welcome, colleagues, to the premiere edition of the Pirate Archaeologist, where we will be discussing all sorts of archaeology-related topics in order to get a better understanding of the archaeological sites we may see in the future. I am your host, the Pirate Archaeologist himself, Christopher Dean Blosser. Before we delve into our first topic, I would like to take some time to explain what I mean when I say the pirate archaeologist. As the term may have some negative connotations to it, I would like to dispel any doubt that some may have in my research or other work. First, let's bring us to the etymology of the name. What is a pirate? Well, according to Oxford Languages, when used as a noun, it means either one, a person who attacks and robs ships at sea, two, a person who appropriates or reproduces the work of others for profit without permission, and three, a person who or organization that broadcasts radio or television programs without official authorization. I can adamantly tell you that I am not someone who attacks or robs at sea. Despite the lovely background I have here, it's just a virtual thing. My enemy is the unknown, and I attack with research. My treasure is always knowledge. I will never use someone else's work without citing them for my own personal gain or profit. And while technically authorized to do so by Dr. Grantham, I feel that my videos fall under the guise of a pirate broadcast. When you take a look at the second word, archaeologist, you only get one definition in the Oxford Languages, and that is of a person who studies human history and prehistory through the excavation of sites and the analysis of the artifacts and physical remains found at those sites. So what does it mean when you put the two together? Well, in a manner of speaking, treasure hunter. Now, this is where the negative connotation really comes into play. Professor Charles R. Ewan co-wrote and edited a book with Russell K. Skowronek called Pieces of Eight, More Archaeology of Piracy, in which he explains the difference between pirate archaeology and the archaeology of piracy. He discusses how pirate archaeologists are nothing more than treasure hunters, and that collaborating with these individuals is something that is overtly frowned upon within the archaeology community, primarily because for the work link between collaboration and compromise. Collaborating with treasure hunters might involve a sacrifice of ethics. Why? Because treasure hunters are in it for the profit, whereas archaeologists are in it for knowledge. Those who know me and my work know that I'm very big on ethics and would never take artifacts from an archaeological site unless doing so for analysis of the site and further curation of a museum. Like I said before, I may be a treasure hunter in the vaguest terms because my treasure is knowledge, something which I hope to share with the world. To quote Commodore Norrington from Pirates of the Caribbean, I must be the worst pirate in the world. Now, the first site that I'm going to do, I would like to throw a shout out to Bailey Howard Leonard, because without her videos last term of the amateur anthropologist, where everybody is an anthropologist, I would not have thought about making the pirate archaeology videos. So thank you, Bailey, and I hope you do well in this term. Now that we have established that I'm not a treasure hunter, so to speak, let's delve into this week's topic of choice. What do we mean by complex societies? Well, that is fairly easy to answer. All we have to do is all we have to do is know what separates primitive societies from complex societies, as both are stages in the social evolution and formation of human civilizations. The first thing you have to understand about complex societies is their change from relying on hunters and gatherers to the creation of means to produce their own foods, creating an agriculturally based society. This had a profound effect on the populations, as you no longer had to live in small bands of people following the migration patterns of the game you hunted. You could settle in one place and thus had a more dense population. Everyone would settle near the agricultural center. This created the ability to not have to have everyone devoted all their time to food production. People could devote their time to other things, like basket weaving or clay pot creating, or even making clothes. They basically created the division between labor and specialization. The larger settlements had more, the larger the settlement, the more complexity they had. All in all, there are about 8 criteria that make a complex society or civilization. These ideas are shared throughout the world. You must have a dense population. First and foremost, you must have a dense population. You must have an agricultural-based economy. You must have a socially based hierarchy. You must have a distinct division between labor and specializations. You must have a centralized form of government. The society or civilization must also have a system of writing and record keeping. It must have a belief system that is complex and robust. And it must build monuments, whether those monuments are statues or walls or cities or what, it must build monuments. These larger complex societies grew out of small villages banding together, sharing resources and helping each other with skills that they may not have had. That's basically what a complex society is. In the simple forms, in its simplest forms, it is government, jobs, religion. And you can see how these three things played out in some of the most well-known complex societies in the ancient world. From the city-states of Uruk and Ur in Mesopotamia to the Indus Valley and even ancient Egypt in the Western Hemisphere. In the Eastern Hemisphere, the Incas, Mayans, and Aztecs all built complex societies. However, they all suffered from the same fatal flaw. Complex societies can only survive as long as they are economically viable. We will discuss more on economic viability of civilizations later, but for now, I hope that you have enjoyed the first edition of the Pirate Archaeologist. Again, I am your host, Christopher Dean Blosser.